Prostrations at the lotus feet of Pujya Gurudev. Pranams to Swami Brahmanandaji, Swami Samatanandaji, all the acharyas of the mission, and all our sadhaks who are present here today, who are watching us here and also watching us live. With deep gratitude and reverence, we gather today for the 6th day of the second set of talks in the study group Jnana Yajna on the event of 2 occasions. We celebrated 110th birthday of Gurudev yesterday and 75th year of the Chinmaya mission. So it's a great celebration. So for the past 75 years, Chinmaya mission has been fearlessly working to spread the timeless wisdom of all our scriptures. One of its most beautiful and meaningful vision and contribution is Chinmaya study groups, the movement where seekers come together, reflect and grow collectively. This powerful concept introduced by Gurudev is propelled in Karnataka by our own dear Swami Brahmanandaji, whom we fondly call Brahmaji. Under his guidance, Bangalore is the single largest center to take the lofty vision forward. All thanks to Brahmaji, the concept of learning, reflecting and transforming together has been a guiding light for many of us. We offer our heartfelt gratitude for this vision, and we draw inspiration from the entire Guru Parampara, without whose guidance, our inspiration to our own inner journey wouldn't have been possible. Today's talks, again, like everything else, is a humble offering by our own sadhaks, reflecting their understanding and living of the Bhagavad Gita itself. Our first speaker today, we have a highly committed and a stalwart of Chinmaya mission. He is a master's graduate in computer science from the University of Bombay. He worked as an embedded software professional in Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, and he joined the Chinmaya movement in Thane in 1979. He joined as a member of Yuva Kendra, and over the years, he has actively served the mission in many ways, including organizing Geeta Jynana Yajnas by several revered teachers like Brahmacharis Sarvatma Chaitanya, Swami Sachidanandaji, and Swami Anubhavanandaji, who was the Acharya of Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Powai. He has also served as the Chinmaya Balvihar Sevak, again in Thane. And when he came to Bangalore, he started as a study group member in RBI Layout study group, continues to be part of the JP Nagar study group. His seva continues as being a sevak of 2 study classes in Bangalore. So his sharing today is definitely a reflection and inner contemplation of all the learning. The topic he has today is Gita for Inner Transformation. It's going to be in English. It's my pleasure to invite the sincere sadhaka, the calm and serene Rajendra Prasadji.
Thanks, Padmagandhini, for the kind words. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. My humble pranams to Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji. My humble pranams to Pujya Swami Brahmanandaji and to Pujya Swamini Samatanandaji. My humble pranams to all respected elders. My Hari Om greetings to all devotees. Yesterday, 8th May 2026, we celebrated the 110th Jayanti of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji. Exactly 40 years ago, on 8th May 1986, we celebrated the 70th birthday of Pujya Gurudev. On that occasion of Pujya Gurudev's 70th birthday, Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananda ji composed a poem in Sanskrit with the title Kritagnyata to express his gratitude to Pujya Gurudev. The poem consists of 11 verses. Today, on behalf of all of you, and also on my own behalf, I wish to express our gratitude to Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmaya ji by chanting 2 verses from the Sanskrit poem Kritagnyata, composed by Pujya Guruji. I offer my humble salutations to Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejomayananda ji, and begin chanting the 2 verses. The first verse is familiar to all of us. Samasta jana kalyane niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahmavidvaram. The translation also is by Swami Tejomayananda ji. Salutations to Sadguru Chinmaya, the best among knowers of Brahman, who is full of compassion and remains ever engaged in the welfare of all people. The 11th verse is the last verse. It's very significant because the word Kritagnyata comes there. Kritagnyata yachirdi stita me vaktum na shakya khalu yatnatopi guru prasida kripaya videhi tvatpada bhaktim paramanuraktim. Very beautiful sentiments are expressed here by Swami Tejomayananda ji. And of course, we are also chanting. Everyone is participating in this. The gratitude in my heart can never be expressed fully in spite of my blessed efforts. O teacher, be gracious and bless me with devotion of the nature of supreme love to your feet. My heartfelt gratitude to Pujya Swami Brahmananda ji, my heartfelt gratitude to Sri G. N. Seshadri ji for giving me this golden opportunity to participate in the Chinmaya Amrutotsava, special Geeta Jynana Yajna by study group members. Also, my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers and volunteers of the special Geeta Jynana Yajna by study group members. As announced just now, the title of today's talk is Geeta for Inner Transformation. I wish to give a brief background about the title of today's talk. On January 1st, 2005, Sripada Kshetra was inaugurated by Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejomayananda ji. And the chief guest for that function was our former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Sri S.M. Krishna. Pujya Guruji began his speech by saying that Bangalore is well known all over the world as the information technology capital of India. That is the IT capital of India. As usual, Pujya Guruji further said, from now onwards, Bangalore should become the inner transformation capital of India. He played with the 2 letters IT. So IT represents information technology, but Guruji said, from now onwards, IT should mean inner transformation. So that inspired me to take up this topic. Pujya Gurudev gives a number of synonyms for the term inner transformation. The synonyms used by Pujya Gurudev include self-perfection, self-rediscovery, self-unfoldment, etc. Now we move on to the next item in today's agenda. First, let us see what is the tool for inner transformation. We get an answer to this question in the verse 24 of Geeta, chapter 16. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vyavasthito jnatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iha arhasi. This verse tells us that Shastra is the tool for our inner transformation. Naturally, the question follows, what is Shastra? There are a number of technical definitions for the term Shastra. According to Pujya Gurudev, Shastra means scriptures or sacred books dealing with the science of life. The first line of the above verse, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastito, says that Shastra is the source of knowledge in regard to what should be done, what should be avoided in our pursuit of inner transformation. To put it in simple words, Shastras contain the code of conduct, the do's and don'ts for our sadhana, that is spiritual practices. The next line is very significant. Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iha Arhasi. As we all know, Sheshadri's favorite punchline, knowing is not doing, doing is doing comes here. Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iha Arhasi. Which means that having known the code of conduct, the do's and don'ts, which we are told by the Shastra, we should strictly follow the instructions given in the Shastra. Gurudev in one place says, our whims and fancies cannot be used when we are entering the field of spirituality. We should strictly go by the injunctions, commandments, very powerful words Gurudev uses, injunctions, commandments of the Shastra. One more important point Gurudev makes about Shastra is that the language used in the Shastra is rather cryptic, very cryptic. So we need elucidation to understand the cryptic language of the Shastras. So this takes us to the next point. There are two interpretations of the Shastras. The first is the literal interpretation, that is the dictionary meaning. The second is the direct interpretation or understanding of the essence of the Shastra. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives us an example. The scriptures are like a mixture of sugar and sand. It is extremely difficult to separate the sugar from the sand. Therefore, Guru Maharaj says one should learn the essence of the scripture from the Guru or from an Acharya. Now, having understood that Shastra is a tool for inner transformation, let us move on to the next topic. We know the tool to be studied, that is the Gita Shastra. Now, what is the technique for pursuing the path of inner transformation? Here, we will get answer to this question from 3 verses in the Bhajagovindam. The 3 verses are number 20, number 27, and 30. Let us chant verses 20, 27, 30 of the Bhajagovindam to understand the techniques for an inner transformation. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakradapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamenana Charcha. Again in 27, the phrase or word Gita comes. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dhyeyam Shripati Rupam Ajastram Neyam Sajjana Sango Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam. We should not forget what Gurudev told us. The language of our Shastras is rather cryptic. So therefore, these words which come here in these 2 verses, we have to go deeper. So Gurudev says, these 2 verses give us a code of conduct in the daily program of a sincere seeker. The first code of conduct, the study of the Gita. Second, the Ganga baptism. Third, the worship of Murari. Fourth, company of the good. Fifth, serving the needy. When I was going through these points, I was reminded of our Pavai Ashrama. We have a Lord Jagadishwara temple there. So Gurudev has kept all these 3 there. He has kept Ganga, he has kept Lord Krishna, and in the middle, just like here, we have Lord Jagadishwara. And every day we have Ganga Harati there also. So beautiful memories that I have. And then in our tradition, we have 3 Gakaras, Govinda, Ganga, and Gita. So we have to remember Govinda, Ganga, Gita. In fact, Ganga is considered to be a liquefied form of Brahman. That is the kind of sanctity we give to Mother Ganga. Now moving forward, a seeker who has accomplished all these 5 steps progresses in his Bahiranga Sadhana. Bahiranga Sadhana, as all of us know, is a Vedantic term for the outer spiritual exercises. Now comes the next question. What about the Antaranga Sadhana for self-perfection? We get an answer to this question in verse number 30 of the Bhaja Govindam. Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya nitya viveka vicharam japya sameta samadhi vidanam kuru avadhanam mahat avadhanam. Here in this verse, we get 5 stages of antaranga sadhana, that is the inner spiritual exercise. The first one is pranayama, control of life's activities in the body. Pratyahara, a very beautiful definition comes. Pratyahara is defined as bringing the mind back upon the self from all sense objects. The next stage is Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam, Viveka or discrimination, Japa. And finally, as a cumulative effect of all these 5 spiritual practices, we reach a state of utter silence within, which is the springboard to the highest samadhi. At this point, I would like to share that every year on June 21st, we do all these steps in our Shandilya Institute of Excellence. About 150 devotees gather here. I cordially invite all of you on behalf of Sri Seshadriji for the next International Day of Yoga. Thus, this verse 30 comprises the 5 stages of inner spiritual practices called Antaranga Sadhana. Puja Gurudev gives a beautiful explanation with examples to the last line of verse 30. Kuru avadhanam, mahat avadhanam. As seekers, a very important point for us. It is very important teaching for all of us in the path of self-perfection. Puja Gurudev says, these are Puja Gurudev's words, not mine. Hari is unknown to all creative expressions in nature outside. He gives examples from nature, the sun rising, the moon setting, the blossoming of the buds, the arrival of the fruits, the germination of the seeds, the fetus in the womb, the bird in the egg, all have no hurry. But each takes its own time to grow and emerge out. Now Gurudev is giving a warning to us. Gurudev says, if the seeker tries to hurry up and double up his march to reach the goal of inner transformation, haste is waste. Typical Gurudev's language, haste is waste. On the path of inner transformation, Puja Gurudev lovingly advises us, please perform your daily sadhana with care, with great care. Avadhanam, mahat avadhanam. The seeker is advised to keep in mind that like any evolution in nature, inner transformation takes its own time for its growth and fulfillment. The seeker is advised to develop a lot of patience while he puts forth his efforts sincerely. Now let us move on to Gita, where we get the techniques of transformation. Bhagavan Vedavyasa calls the Gita as Yoga Shastra. Jagadguru Sri Adi Shankaracharya refers to Gita as Adhyatma Shastra. Now the verse which we are chanting here is verse 38, chapter 2. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, now listen to the advice I offer you while you fight the battle. In the earlier verses of chapter 2, that is from 11 to 37, after giving Arjuna the mystical and material arguments for the unavoidable necessity for action, Lord Krishna feels that Arjuna is getting ready to accept the advice. Therefore, arise, O son of Kunti. Krishna advises Arjuna. That is the translation of the verse which I just read. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. So Krishna is telling in English, in perfect physical, mental, and intellectual equipoise, not upset by pleasure or pain, gain or loss, success or failure, you must engage in the battle. Why so? For then you will incur no sin. Now we go to Gurudev again. Gurudev gives a beautiful psychological definition of the word papam, sin. According to Gurudev, sin is the negative vasana that is left over by wrong thought or action, which later on expressed to give the sinner his sorrows. Very powerful statement. Thus, all vasanas are sins. If the seeker has risen above the three pairs of opposites, these are the three pairs of opposites we saw in the verse number 38. Technically, they are called dvandvas, such as joy and sorrow, gain or loss, success or failure. To such an individual, his actions can create no vasanas. To act with such inner poise is to invoke within us a cleansing light of joy, a benign grace of fulfillment. Similarly, in verses number 56, 57, 58, we get the conduct of the one of perfect realization. I will quickly chant because there's time is, I think, how much time do I have? Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, Sukheshu vigataspraha, Vitaraga bhayakrodaha, Sthitadir muniruchyate, Yas sarvatran abhisneha, Tattat prapya shubhashubham, Nabhinandati nadveshti, Tasya prajna pratishtita, Yadha samharate chayam, Kurmonganiva sarvashaha, Indriyani, Indriyarthebhya, Tasya prajna pratishtita. Here the pratyahara concept is coming, which is defined as bringing the mind back upon the self from all sense objects. So now we move on to Gita chapter 12. And there we get verses 13 to 19, a set of 7 verses. In these set of verses, Lord Krishna enumerates the 36 characteristic features. Technically, they are called Lakshanani of a real devotee. And then I would like to also quote here. Yes, I would like to go to Narad Bhakti Sutras. In 78, Sutra number 78 and 79, again we get a number of techniques. The Sutra number 78 says, Ahimsa, Satya, Shauchadaya, Astikyadi, Charitryani, Paripalaniyani, virtues like non-injury to others, truthfulness, cleanliness, compassion, faith in the Lord, and so on, should be consistently cultivated. Here, Gurudev again gives us a beautiful definition of astikya. To come to live a virtuous life is to regularly study the scriptures, reflect deeply upon what is dharma and adharma, so that our belief and faith in dharma and adharma get deepened, and we come to live up to it, and finally experience it in realization. Such a total involvement in the higher way of life is true spiritual pursuit, real evolutionary living. Moving on to Sutra number 79. Sarvada sarvabhavena nischintitaihi bhagavaneva bhajaniyaha. Always free from all mental anxiety, the Lord alone is to be invoked and sought after with all factors or faculties of our personality. Gurudev says we have to go back to verse number 62 of chapter 18. Very similar points come there. In the Gita, the same idea is beautifully stated in verse number 62, chapter 18. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. The 4 conditions in Sutra number 79. Sarvada, at all times. Sarvabhavena, in all aspects of our personality. Nischintitaihi, calm and serene under all conditions. Bhagavaneva bhajaniyaha, we must seek the Lord alone. Now the translation for verse number 62. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tatprasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. Take refuge in him with all your being, O Bharata. By his grace you shall obtain supreme peace and the eternal abode. Now we have studied the Gita Shastra. Now, what are my responsibilities and duties towards achieving this inner transformation? Gurudev says, Tameva Sharanam Gacha Sarvabhavena Bharata. To him alone take refuge with all your being, at all three levels, planes of existence. Then what happens? We get the phalam. And it's a very beautiful phalam we get. Tat prasadat, by his grace, param shantim, not ordinary peace, supreme peace. And then sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam, we shall obtain the eternal abode. Here we have examples of Radha, Hanuman, Prahalada, and others. Now we will be concluding the talk today by reading from Gurudev's Geeta Panchamrita. Before that, I would also like to read or tell about the role of a guru in our inner transformation, because the role of guru is very important. So here I would like to just chant verse number 9 of the Guru Stotram, which says, Aneka janma samprapta karma bandha vidahine atmajnana pradhanena tasmai shri gurave namaha. See the greatness of our Guru. Not in one janma or two janmas, innumerable janmas. Salutations to that noble Guru who, by bestowing the knowledge of the self, that is very important, Atmajnana, he burns up the bondage created by accumulated actions of innumerable births. Finally, I wish to quote page 3 of Geeta Panchamrit. Swami Chinmayananda spent over 42 years in service of humanity with the aim of inner transformation and upliftment of society through the knowledge of Gita. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, sir. You helped understand that concepts of Gita are not just in Gita, but they're also all over, Bhaja Govindam, Narada Bhakti Sutra. We get inputs from everywhere. The code of conduct, techniques, and of course, Guru becomes very important for us. And of course, you change the meaning of IT, information technology, but inner transformation. So your talk will now guide us on how to use this wisdom of Gita and bring about real change within us. Thank you very much.